Hi, my name is Becca. The behavior change project that I worked on focused on my client attending to a task presented to him. The task consisted of a file folder type program that had a total of 12 letters. He had to match the identical font printed uppercase letter to one in front of him. The letters were identical, but the background was different. On the stimuli in front of him, it was a bathtub, and the stimuli that he had to match, it was a bubble. For the project, attending to task was operationally defined as responding to the SD within 3 seconds. In this case, the SD was match, utilizing stimuli or materials for the project in an appropriate manner, and not looking away from the task for more than 3 consecutive seconds. He oftentimes would sing during the task, and that was fine as long as you could tell that he was looking and scrolling and trying to find the correct one. There were also times when he would match incorrectly, and we would have to prompt him, but if he stayed within the confines of the definition of attending, it was still marked correct for attending, although the matching portion was marked incorrect. With this intervention, the intervention that we put in place to try to increase his attending to the task was that of a token economy. The client received a bubble to place on his SpongeBob token board for every letter that he attended to from the time the SD was given until it was correctly matched. Therefore, he had the ability to earn up to 12 letters every time the task was presented to him. The design I used was changing criterion. Initial criterion was set at 5, as this was slightly greater than the smallest number seen in baseline, which was 4, but not as large as the greatest number, which was once seen, and it was 8. The progress was consistently evaluated when he successfully met or exceeded criterion on level in 3 or more consecutive presentations. The criterion level was changed. Through the course of this project, I was able to raise the criterion from 5 to 7, then to 8, and finally to 10. His most successful attending number throughout the entire study was 11. I wish I could say that I felt this project was a huge success, but I cannot in good conscience say that. I did see some great progress, and the family did report seeing higher levels of attending even when he was at home and away from the study. But the data fluctuated numerous times, and there was very little stability. As you can see if you look at the graph that's attached to the discussion board post. There are a variety of confounding variables that likely played a role in the lack of stability. They include, but are not limited to, the fact that this child does, on top of his diagnosis of autism spectrum disorder, have a diagnosis of attention deficit disorder. And he is not on medication for this. And while I know in our field a child's diagnosis is not the most important thing, and it's not what we look at, and you get into the circular argument of, well, he can't attend because he has ADHD, and the ADHD makes him not attend, and blah, 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 circular. It is also our job to look at medical conditions that may contribute to the behavior. And in this case, with this child who has received services for numerous years and very little increase in actually attending to tasks presented to him, it is very possible that this is a factor. The client also, during the course of this project, became sick. And there was one session that we had in which he became physically ill in the middle of the session, and the session had to end early. And as a result, we also had to cancel a couple other sessions due to his illness. And this created, on top of the lack of sessions, it created a disruption in the schedule. Another factor that may have contributed was that while the token board selected was one of his favorite characters, at the time the token board was selected, and he had great time perseverating on SpongeBob at the time, he did change, and the lack of perseveration on SpongeBob could have made the tokens and the token board itself seem less reinforcing, and that may have contributed as well. I will say that I have learned a lot on this project and was able to work on many different skills, including helping others and training others on properly implementing a program. And I feel more confident moving forward, both in my schoolwork and in my career. Thank you.